Hello and welcome to Workers' Comp Unwrapped, the podcast that simplifies workers' compensation for physicians. So, let's get started. Welcome to Workers' Comp Unwrapped, Season 3, Episode 11.
Great to be here.
Today we are doing a deep dive into something maybe a bit niche, but incredibly important if you deal with California workers' comp electronic billing compliance.
Yeah, and we're zeroing in on one specific big player, Liberty Mutual, and, well, their documented struggles with the electronic explanation of review, the e-EOR.
Okay.
So if you're out there, carefully sending your e-bills, doing everything right, and then you get this useless paper EOR back in the mail weeks later,
Yeah.
or you're just tearing your hair out trying to make the payments match the paperwork, this is where we connect those dots for you.
Right, between what the law says and what's actually happening on the ground.
Exactly. And look, this isn't just some minor annoyance. It's actually a violation of California law, and it messes up cash flow. It makes it harder to defend your revenue.
Correct.
It's a real problem.
Okay, so our mission today, unpack the law, pinpoint Liberty Mutual's 4 main failures we're hearing about, and give you practical tools, a toolkit to push back.
That's the plan. Real-world strategies.
All right, let's start with the basics then. What is the law supposed to look like? What does California require when an insurer gets an electronic bill?
It's actually kind of fascinating how clear the rules are. You look at California Labor Code 4603.4 and the regulations, CCR 9792.5.3.
Okay.
They weren't messing around. These rules were designed for digital efficiency, for transparency, no gray areas, really.
So lay it out for us. What are the key mandates, the non-negotiables?
Okay, 4 main things carriers have to do. First, they've got to be able to accept e-bills. That's table stakes, right? Most manage that. Okay.
Right, step 1.
Second, once they get that e-bill, they must send back a compliant e-EOR, electronic for electronic. They can't just decide to print it.
Okay, that seems key. No switching back to paper.
Third, the response has to be in a specific format. That's the X12-835 standard. It's the technical language computers use to talk to each other about payments.
Gotcha, the 835.
And fourth, the timing. This is crucial. They have to send that electronic response back within 15 working days of getting your bill.
15 working days. Okay, so it's pretty absolute then. You e-bill, they must e-respond in that 835 format within 3 weeks, essentially.
Precisely. The clock starts ticking right away. Sending only paper just isn't compliant in this situation, period.
And why the big deal about the 835 format? Why not just a PDF they email you?
That's the critical piece. It's about automation and knowing why you got paid what you got paid. The 835 isn't just text, it's structured data.
Machine readable.
Exactly. Inside that file are specific codes, CRRCs and RRCs, claim adjustment reason codes, and remittance advice remark codes, standardized codes.
Okay.
These codes tell your billing software exactly why a line item was cut or denied or paid differently. Patient responsibility, not medically necessary, whatever, there's a code for it. Without those specific codes, your software can't automatically post the payment, flag it for review, or, importantly, start the appeal process correctly. A paper EOR, or even a PDF with just some vague text. You're basically flying blind.
Flying blind. Okay. So the law demands this clear, coded electronic data for transparency and efficiency.
Right.
But that's not always what providers are getting, especially from Liberty Mutual, based on reports. Let's pivot to that. What are the specific problems, the violations people are seeing?
Yeah, based on provider feedback and documentation, we've kind of boiled it down to 4 major recurring violations. Each one is a direct hit to the provider's workflow and bottom line, and frankly, a breach of DWC rules.
Okay, what's number 1?
Number 1, and probably the most blatant, is the paper-only EOR. You do your part, send the bill electronically through the clearinghouse, nice and efficient.
Yep.
And Liberty Mutual responds by printing out the EOR and sticking it in the mail.
Seriously?
Yeah. Instantly, your staff has to stop what they're doing and manually type in every single payment adjustment, every denial code. It completely wipes out any benefit of e-billing. Just gone.
That sounds almost intentional, like creating friction just because. Okay, what's violation number 2? This one sounds more subtle.
It is. Number 2 is the incomplete e-EOR file. So this time, they do send an electronic file, an 835, progress, right?
You'd think.
But the file is like hollowed out. It's missing those crucial or RRC codes we just talked about, the Y.
So the file arrives, but it's useless for automated processing.
Pretty much. Your software chokes on it because it can't figure out the adjustments. So again, your staff is stuck digging through the file manually, trying to match some vague text description to the right appeal reason. Pure wasted time and labor cost.
Trading automation for detective work. Got it. What's number 3?
3 is simpler, but just as damaging. Delayed responses.
Yeah.
They just flat out miss the 15 working day deadline. The e-EOR shows up late. And this is a killer because, as we'll get into, your appeal clock often starts ticking based on when the payment was due, not when you finally got the explanation.
Oof. Yeah, that's a trap. And number 4, you mentioned money issues.
Right. Number 4 is mismatched data. This one drives people absolutely crazy. You get a physical check in the mail,
Okay.
but the amount on the check doesn't cleanly match the payment details in the EOR, whether it was paper or electronic.
Oh, so, like an example.
Sure. The check is for, say, $450, but the EOR you finally decode says $500 was paid on that bill. Where's the other $50?
Right.
So your reconciliation team spends hours, literally hours sometimes, trying to figure out the discrepancy. Often it turns out the EOR file didn't include the right claim number or some other identifier, so it couldn't be matched automatically in their system.
So a 1-minute digital reconciliation becomes an accounting nightmare.
Exactly. It turns simple posting into a forensic audit.
Okay, when you put it all together, paper responses, missing codes, late files, mismatched money. I mean, I joked about carrier pigeons earlier, but it does sound like Liberty Mutual is maybe creating administrative quicksand here. Is that too harsh?
It definitely creates massive operational friction, let's put it that way. And that really brings us to the crunch point. Why should you, the practice owner, the biller, care so much about these nitty-gritty compliance details? What's the actual tangible impact?
Yeah, quantify that friction for us. What does this non-compliance really cost a practice?
Oh, it's way more than just frustration. It hits hard in 3 main ways. First, obviously, delayed cash flow.
Makes sense.
If your team can't reconcile payments quickly because they're waiting for paper or manually keying things in or chasing down mismatches, that money isn't properly posted and available. It's stuck in limbo.
Right.
And in workers' comp, where margins can be tight anyway, delaying cash posting by weeks, that can really hurt your ability to make payroll, pay suppliers, run the business.
And that delay then connects to appeals.
Right, directly. That's the second and often most costly consequence. Missed appeal deadlines. This is critical. You generally have 90 days from the date of the EOR to file a second bill review, an SBR. But if you don't get a compliant EOR quickly with the right denial codes, you might not even realize you can appeal or why you should appeal until it's too late. If that 90-day clock runs out because of the carrier's delay or lack of information,
that revenue is just gone.
Poof, permanently lost. The carrier basically wins by default because they weren't compliant. It's incredibly unfair.
Wow. Okay. And the third impact, the admin burden. Can you put a cost on that?
Absolutely. Third is the increased administrative burden, and this is a direct hit to your payroll. Let's take a simple example. Say a $500 service line gets denied.
Okay.
If the EOR is non-compliant, paper, missing codes, whatever your skilled biller, who should be working on complex cases or patient issues, might have to spend, let's be conservative, an hour or two just tracking down the paper, manually entering data, figuring out the denial reason, matching it to the payment. If that biller costs your practice, say $35 an hour, including overhead, that one non-compliant EOR just costs you maybe $70 in extra labor just to process a denial you still have to fight.
Wow.
Now, multiply that across hundreds, maybe thousands of bills a year. The carrier's failure to follow the rules is costing your practice potentially tens of thousands of dollars in wasted staff time they could be spending generating revenue.
Okay, so the bottom line here, these aren't just glitches. They slow your cash, they cost you real money in admin waste, and they can actually cost you the chance to appeal and recover denied payments. They erode your leverage.
Precisely. Time, money, and leverage, all negatively impacted.
This really paints a picture of why it's not just an annoyance, it's a serious business problem. All right, let's shift to solutions, the practical part. If this system is broken, or at least if Liberty Mutual seems to be breaking it regularly, what can providers actually do? You mentioned a toolkit.
Yes. Providers aren't powerless here. There are definitely steps you can, and frankly must take to protect yourselves and push for compliance. We've got 5 key actions.
Okay, let's hear them. What's step 1?
Step 1, audit your submissions meticulously. Don't just assume because your clearinghouse said the bill was delivered that the process is over. You need to track the response. Use your clearinghouse portal features, sure, but even better are specialized compliance platforms. They don't just check if a response came back, they check if it was a valid e-EOR.
I check the format, the codes.
Exactly. They run automated validation checks on the X12 835 file. They can instantly flag if it's missing required data elements like those SARCs and RARCs. So the tech tells you if the response was actually compliant, not just present.
Smart. Okay, so audit for validity. What's step 2?
Step 2 builds on that. Rigorously track the 15-day rule. You need bulletproof documentation. What date exactly did you send the e-bill? What date exactly did you receive a compliant electronic response?
Keep a log.
A detailed log, ideally automated by the software in step 1. This time-stamped evidence is your absolute best friend when challenging a late response. No more he said, she said.
Gotcha. Audit, then track the deadline. What if the pattern continues? Late or bad EORs keep coming.
That brings us to step 3. Escalate noncompliance formally. Documenting is step 1, acting on it is next. You need to send written notices.
To who? The adjuster.
To the designated claims contact at the carrier. And in that notice, you specifically cite the law, CCR section 9792.5.3, and state how they violated it. e-EOR received 25 working days after e-bill submission, or e-EOR received without required CAR codes.
Okay, put them on notice. What if that doesn't work?
If the pattern persists across multiple bills or adjusters, then you escalate higher. You file a formal complaint with the Division of Workers' Compensation's Audit and Enforcement Unit.
The DWC Audit Unit. Okay, that sounds intimidating. Is it worth the hassle for a busy practice? Does it actually do anything?
It's definitely a hurdle, I won't lie, but it's the mechanism the state provides for accountability. And here's the key. You're not just sending one complaint about one bill, you're using the documentation from steps 1 and 2 to show a pattern of noncompliance.
So you provide evidence of systemic failure.
Exactly. That makes it much easier for the DWC to investigate. If they audit and find a pattern, they can levy significant fines against the carrier. It turns your documentation effort into real leverage for change.
Okay, that reframes it. Using the hassle to create consequences. What's step 4?
Step 4 is about strategy within your appeals. Use their noncompliance against them in disputes. Even if Liberty Mutual messes up the EOR, you still need to file your SBR or IBR if you dispute the payment. Don't let their error stop your appeal.
Right, but how do you use it?
You attach proof of their violation to your appeal packet. Include screenshots showing the late delivery date from your tracking log. Point out the missing codes in the 835 file if that was the issue. You essentially argue not only was this payment adjustment incorrect, but the carrier also failed to follow mandatory procedures in communicating it.
So you highlight their bad faith, essentially.
Precisely. It strengthens your overall case. And finally, step 5 kind of underpins all of this. Fully leverage technology.
The compliance platforms you mentioned earlier.
Yes. These systems are invaluable because they automate steps 1 and 2, the auditing and tracking. They automatically flag late or invalid EORs. They generate the audit trail. They calculate the exact number of days late. They basically build your evidence packet for step 3 automatically.
So it takes the burden off your staff.
Exactly. It shifts that tedious tracking and validation work from your expensive human billers onto the software, freeing them up for higher value tasks, like actually fighting the denials.
Okay, this is a really practical toolkit. Audit, track, escalate formally, use the evidence in disputes, and leverage tech. Makes sense. So let's wrap this up. What's the big takeaway for our listeners here?
The main thing is this. Liberty Mutual's issues with EORs, the ones providers are documenting, aren't just operational hiccups. They are, based on the regulations, illegal under California law.
Right.
And you, the provider, the biller, you have the power and the tools to fight back. It takes diligence, auditing every transaction, tracking those dates, escalating when needed, but you can enforce compliance.
Don't just accept it as the cost of doing business.
Absolutely not. Don't let non-compliance slide. Every single time you track a violation, document it, and potentially escalate it, you're not just helping your own bottom line on that specific bill. You're contributing to the larger pressure needed to make these big carriers follow the rules for everyone.
The law was written for transparency and speed. We've laid out how you can use that law as both a shield for your practice's finances and, frankly, a weapon in your disputes. So think about it. What patterns of noncompliance are you seeing right now? Which ones could be your next point of escalation to demand the efficiency the law promises? Something to mull over.
Definitely food for thought.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Thanks for listening to Workers' Comp Unwrapped. If you found value in today's episode, subscribe and share with fellow doctors. Stay informed and keep making a difference in your patients' care.